Hello and welcome. I am Scarperlock, and this is City of Heroes on the private server. We are doing our character, Tiger Shrike, on the Rebirth server. But first, I want to use this episode to ask in the comments for those of you watching to decide what are we going to play next after we're done with Tiger Shrike. So we're not going to worry about the origin because I'm going to fix that later, but you have to pick an origin first. So we're just going to go ahead and pick science for now. And we're going to move forward. And what we're going to do is look at the possible archetypes that you guys can select. And just down in the comments, just say which one you want. Heck, if you want, go ahead and rank them from top to bottom. What's your top preference? And there aren't that many people that watch these videos, so if only 3 or 4 people, 5 people comment, maybe less, you may get your wish. So there are several options, right? One option is the Brute. The Brute is very high melee damage, not quite as high as the Stalker. It's a 9 instead of a 10. Not quite as high as the Scrapper. It's a 9 instead of a 10, but better survivability, although not quite as good as a tank, who would be a 10, right? So Brute, don't know what we're going to be, probably Dark Melee, but that is one option. A second option, range damage, is the Corruptor, right? The Corruptor does good support and good damage. It's sort of like a reverse Defender. The Defender is primary support, secondary range damage, and you can see that there. The Corruptor is primary and range damage, secondary support. Their damage isn't quite as good as something like a Blaster, right? But they're pretty good all around. They got a little bit of crowd control. They're almost like a jack of all trades. So the second option is a Corruptor. The third option in crowd control is the Dominator. Dominator's awesome crowd control and decent range and melee damage. Controllers are better at support. Dominators don't do any support. This is a very aggressive class where you're crowd controlling with your primary and you're doing tons of damage with your secondary. Awesome, super fun class. So that's your third option. Okay. And then the fourth option is the Mastermind. The Mastermind is very good on pets, pretty good on survivability, a little bit of support, not too much range damage. I'm almost certainly going to go Beastmaster if we pick Mastermind because I'd really like to play those. Although robots are pretty cool too. So I don't know, that's possible. So those are your 4 choices, guys. Dominator, Mastermind, Corruptor, Brute. Go ahead and in the comments tell me which one is your first choice, second choice, third choice, fourth choice, and well, I'll just see where the votes take us, and that will be the next character we do after Tiger Shrike. And then once we're done with that, then I'll start asking you guys to look into what you want for your for our primary and secondary powers, and then we'll do origin and things like that. And you're not going to have free choice of anything. We're going to be picking from among the ones that I would like to do, just like we are picking from the archetypes I would like to do. So go ahead and leave your comments in this episode's comments, and I will leave it up for a while, and then by the time we get to level 50, we'll have made these choices. But in the meantime, we're still only level 40, and we got a long way to go, and we're doing a story arc for, I don't need to call her, she's right here, for Tina McIntyre, the Antimatter Collision. And she says, I'm still checking on the DPS readings. I still love that acronym. But in my research, I came across a report of a dimension with very similar DPS. Can you do me a favor and jaunt over to row mu72 and report? So we're going to go to investigate the DPS readings in this other universe. Did I go to the wrong place? No, yes, I went to the wrong place. So this is me being stupid. I assumed it was in here. It is over there. So as I told you guys last time, there are 3 sort of sections. Let's just hover up and we can take a look. There are 3 buildings in the campus here. 1, 2, 3. They're pretty much identical, other than Tina McIntyre standing outside of this one. And inside each one is a pair of portals, and the missions into other dimensions always come from one of those portals. So this time we are going this way. And there it is. Those are really cool. I love the portals. The special effects on that are pretty awesome. So now what we're doing is we are trying to find Dr. Calvin and 5 devices. So we're going to have to look around and see what we can find. These are cursed. Well, let's take a shot at them and see what they're like. Obviously not difficult. I don't know what their officers, you know, lieutenants and bosses will be like, but the minions are not really anything to worry about. So let's look around, shall we? Okay, so this is the edge. You know, I like to find the edges and see how big of an area we're working with. I mean, there are only a certain number of possible maps we could be on. You got to ask yourself, from the point of design here, why bother putting this force field wall here when there is a war wall right there? They could have just let the zone go over to there. I mean, I'm not asking for the zone being any bigger, but what's the point of cutting it off by the width of a sidewalk? Now, the parking garage is right there. Oftentimes there are things, clues and other stuff right by the parking garage. So let's take a look. And see if we can find anything in here. And then we'll go back to painting the edges of the zone. Okay, so I don't really see anything up here. So we're going to go back to finding the limits. And I don't know what form the 5 devices take. Usually they're glowies, so my hope is... There it is, yep, we should hear them. Alright, so these guys are going to need to be taken out because they will see me when I decloak. It seems so weird having 4 of these now. Even though it's normal with, like, when I play Silver Phoenix. It's just that I've been with 3 for this character for, like, what, 15 levels? I mean, like, probably more than 2 whole seasons of this series. And, I'm just used to having 3 rows instead of 2. Okay. So this is telling us how big the zone is. Sometimes there's a kidnapped victim back here, but not this time. Alright, and that's it. So now we just have to wander around and see if we can find the doctor and the glowies. And they like to, you know, hide the kidnapped victims in between the buildings like this, in the backs of the alleys and so forth. So you gotta kind of look all through. Back to the garage, there's nothing over here. So let's keep looking. Sometimes you get them in the corners here, right? But not this time. And there he is, the good doctor, right there. So that's the hardest thing to find, is the kidnap victim, right? Because they don't glow and they don't make any humming noises. Right, whereas The glowies glow. There's one. And they hum. So you can kind of find them fairly easily. But the kidnap victims are hard to find. I am noticing a pattern, though, that a lot of the kidnap victims end up in, like, this section. Now we have a lot of territory to still explore. So we'll go ahead and do that. There's another glowy. So now we'll face the lieutenant and see if they're challenged, but no. Miss. There we go. So now there are 2 devices to find. We have all this area to look in. And look and listen is the goal here, because you can also hear them. So now there's 1 left, and we'll see if it gives us a clue or not. And it tells us where it is, so that will end this very quickly. I hear it. There it is. Click. And they can't see us because we're on the other side of the fence. And that takes care of the mission. Dr. Calvin said some strange robots came through the portal. A portal just like yours. They planted these devices all over the area, and suddenly time went haywire. So they're doing something in these other dimensions. The Praetorians. And she says, okay, so the DPS variance in that Romeo 7-2 was caused by Praetorian clockwork planting temporal accelerators. I need some time to piece out exactly what's going on. That's a bit of a pun there. Part 3. The leader of the resistance in Pretoria, Calvin Scott, just contacted Dark Watcher, who forwarded us a message. Antimatter has an orbital space lab that he uses to stage the sneak attack. He used to stage the sneak attack the other day. Calvin Scott has given us the orbital coordinates. We think we can open a portal to Upsilon Beta 96 right inside that space station. We'd like you to lead a team. So we are going to head over to, I guess for the first time, we're going back to Pretoria. We have not been back there since we left 20 levels ago. Yep, we're back in Pretoria. Oh, we're supposed to be bringing these guys with us. I'm not worried about that. We're just going to go. They can follow us or not. So we need to locate information on the invasion. Oh, that's really kind of annoying. We already know where it is. Yeah, not a fan of... Like, I like getting the, I like it when those things pop up in a really long mission where it's very hard to find things. But to have it just be there from the beginning, you haven't even looked yet, and it's already telling you where it is, that's kind of lame. Alright, I'm going to just book and get away from this so that I don't have to deal with the NPCs. And I guess we can just click this. Oh, that was a really short mission. We got Antimatter's files. And honestly, guys, one of the reasons I booked out of that mission is because I don't want NPCs following me around. So this is a new story arc. This is not Tina McIntyre's original story arc. Because when I worked for her, back during Live, there was no Pretoria. So I don't know what... I wonder if she gives you 2 story arcs, because I don't remember what her original story arc was. So part 3. If these files are correct, Antimatter was acting on his own in stealing the Portal Corp tech. This means it's not a full-scale invasion. Part 4, while you and I have been piecing together Antimatter's plan, he's been moving forward, and it looks like he's made his move. The office complex, Waxahachie Park, is under attack by his forces. So go take him down. So now we're going to board the train. Alright, so the easiest way to do this is to go to Ouroboros. And you can board the train, excuse me, directly from there. In the meantime, I think we're going to sell to this guy. Boom, boom. And off we go. Waxahachie Park. That's a really interesting name. Okay, defeat all. So this is going to take a while. So it's a good thing our other missions were short, because this will probably take about 20 minutes, maybe more. I always go up this side. I should try going up the other side first sometime. But here we go. Notice, by the way, guys, we'd gone from like 2.05 or something percent to 1.97% a second. That's because when we leveled, our enhancements turned white instead of green. Okay. We're just going to cleave through these guys. Yeah, so back to how we started, which was for this episode, as I've been kind of saying all along that I wanted to do, I'm now opening up people to, I don't know, vote or suggest which of the 4 possible archetypes I should do for the next Let's Play. It will be a villain, right? Because I haven't done the villain content yet, and I would like to do that on video. I've done all this sort of hero content twice now. Once with this character after level 20, and once with Silver Phoenix. So I would like to do the villain stuff. So we're going to be in the Rogue Isles with this character, and it will be a bad guy. And the 4 options, again, are Mastermind, Corruptor, Brute, and Dominator. And I'm being sloppy as I talk. Sorry about that. So yeah, definitely, if you're watching and you have an opinion about which one we should play, feel free to make a suggestion, you know, to choose. And as I said, you can rank them. If people want to do that, I'll just, you know, the number 1 will get, your number 1 choice will get 4 points. Your number 2 choice will get 3 points, and so on. And then I'll just add them up if there's multiple people who vote. I don't get a lot of comments. Realistically, maybe 1 or 2 on a video is a lot. So, unlike a channel where there's a much larger audience, this would be a chance to actually influence things where I might actually do what you say, because you may be one of only 2 or 3 people who comment. So, this is your chance to influence what's happening on the videos. You can tell me which archetype you want me to do. And I just might do it if you're the only one who makes the suggestion. Alright. So we're just going to continue working these guys. Come on. Now you might wonder, why am I not getting the extent of this mission? Well, to some degree I don't really need it, because I've done this map so many times, I know how big it is. And since it's a defeat all, we just have to go from spawn to spawn anyway. Realistically, it's our only choice. Alright. There's some guys talking over there. Ah, there's a boss over there, okay. So in terms of the archetypes, let's go back to that. You know, there are pros and cons to each of them. One of the pros to the Brute is I'm really very familiar with how melee characters and characters like Scrappers, Stalkers, and Brutes work. I've never actually gotten a Brute above level 20 or so. They work so similarly to the other melee classes that I will have no trouble. I'll have no trouble playing them, I'll have no trouble designing them, I'll have no trouble figuring out how to slot them. They will be just like the other characters we've done. Familiar, comfortable, easy to do. I won't make a lot of mistakes with the Brute, other than dying at first because I'm used to having hide, and the Brute won't have that. But once I get used to not having the ability to hide again, there should be no problem. Now, on the other hand, the disadvantage of that is, you know, it's kind of same old, and it's not going to be appreciably different from the Stalker, and particularly the Scrapper, in terms of how it plays. And so, you know, kind of, if you want something new and different and original compared to the other stuff I've done, the Brute, to be honest, is really not it. Because it's going to play so much like the Scrapper. But again, it's something I'd be good at and competent at, and it's a relatively easy fit. And I know I'll enjoy it because I love melee in this game. I don't necessarily always love the range stuff, but I absolutely love the melee in this game. Now, the other option that's a relatively safe option is the Dominator. I have gotten Dominators into the 20s and 40s before, and I tend to really like them. They're a very aggressive style of play. I tend to like the more aggressive play styles like Scrappers, Stalkers, and Brutes. And Dominators have a very good aggressive play style. They're relatively safe once you get their holds in, because they can lock everything down so that it's not shooting at you. So you open with a lockdown, and then you reapply it as you go, and in the meantime, you're doing massive amounts of damage with your ranged attacks and so on. I don't know why it's taking me so long to rehide. I feel like it's taking a long time. So Dominator's also a good choice if you want to pick a character that I'm familiar with, a character that I'll be able to explain and that I know well. Slotting is not as intuitive for me, especially if we don't do Plant Thorn as the only Dominator I've played into significant levels. By significant, I mean over, like, around now, level 40, 42, 3. You know, I may make some slotting mistakes, but probably not a lot. Oh man, a couple of bosses here. Probably not a lot, simply because I have done Dominators before at a high level. The other two choices are going to be a lot different, and possibly an awful lot of fun because of that difference, but will be the sorts of characters that I'm not as familiar with in terms of how to slot them and so forth. And so the advantage, I guess, I'm trying to make sure we don't miss anything here because this is a defeat all. The advantage to something like Mastermind or Corruptor is that I haven't done it before, and hopefully it'll be a lot more interesting because it'll be just completely different. It'll play differently, they'll slot completely differently, the whole playstyle will be very, very different from the way we do Scrappers, Stalkers, Brutes. I'll be learning as I go, and that may be valuable and interesting to people, I don't know. On the other hand, I'm nowhere near as knowledgeable about Masterminds and Corruptors as I am about Scrappers and Stalkers. I haven't played a Corruptor ever above level 5 or 6, and although I did play a Mastermind into the low 20s, I believe, in live, I have not played a Mastermind in over 10 years. More like 12, 13, something like that. So, given that that's the case, I probably make a lot of mistakes with how I do the slotting, and I may be very, rusty's not the word, but I may be very, kind of non-optimal, shall we say, with the gameplay for both of those classes until I kind of get the hang of it. I'll figure it out eventually, but it may take me a number of levels to do so. And so the question that you have to ask yourself, in part, in addition to just what types of characters do I like to watch, would be, do you want to get, what do you want to get out of it? Do you want to get watching me struggle to learn how to play a new class, or do you just want to get my tips for how to play a class that I know how to play well? And so I suspect that'll vary for everybody. But that's really what to think about when you're deciding on which archetype you'd like to see me play next. Alright, let's try to pull these guys. What I'm trying to do is avoid getting the boss to come. I think I did that. This is like one of the toughest minions I've ever fought. What the heck? So they're seriously debuffing me, minus Def. Feels like they're debuffing other things too, because I'm missing a lot. So this is Carnies and Antimatter Clockwork. Alright, so we're going to take this Carney out right now. Placate. Whoa, let's instant heal. Let's hasten up. I should have done that before. Free Radical. Wow, he's really pounding me. Should be okay now with the dull pain and the instant healing, but we'll see. Should have placated in there, I guess, but we're alright. And there we go. And there's another boss. Two bosses here. Okay, well, we might very well need Moment of Glory. Let's go on in while Instant Healing is still active. Try to do as much damage mitigation as we can. Whoa, 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 not good, not good. Alright. Let's placate this guy. Well, I didn't mean to hit him, but we're alright. Atomic Warfare, is that his name? That is a cool name. Got him. So how much further do we have to go just to here? But then there's going to be all sorts of guys up in there too. Yeah, this is actually a relatively short defeat all, and it's still kind of painfully long. Alright. Did I miss anybody down here? Doesn't look like it. Alright, so let's start with this lieutenant. So this will be our last mission for the evening, I think. Because it's going to be fairly long. These outdoor defeat all missions tend to be. Again, as I've mentioned before, I feel like the developers just kind of lost something on kind of their judgment of what's a good mission length. I feel like a lot of the old missions are just the right length, and a lot of these, like level 40 plus ones, really aren't. I mean, was there the need to have this many spawns that are all the same? If I can defeat one, I can defeat 10. Or 100. Or 1,000. That slash power is going to get better as soon as we get real SOs in it. Once we slot it in, that'll be at level 42, I guess, because 41 is a new power, and we already got our level 40 slots. this should be just about the end of it. Yeah, there are a couple more left. And that should be it. Okay, so where are the others? I thought I had everybody. Alright, I don't know what I'm missing. Ah. Did I not come down here? Alright, well, we're going to take the Carney out first because they're horrible. Ring mistresses and all. Start instant healing off. Placate this guy. Look at that. Man, they just drain your endurance so bad. Yep. And now, with integration off, he can mez me. Alright, it's back. Why do I have all these greens now? And you can see he's like taking all kinds of, doing all kinds of endurance drain on me, which I did not expect. So this is just going to take a while, guys. Because I can't throw the damage on him the way I normally would, due to him draining my endurance. Let's build up. Alright, we got him now. Come on. Come on. Look at this. Ridiculous. We have down to one sliver and we can't get him. There we go. Alright. Out we go. We've completed this mission. And we should get a clue. She says, thanks to you, there weren't any casualties in Waxahachie Park. Calvin Scott informs us that on his world, Vanessa DeVore leads the Carnival of Light, who fight antimatter at every turn. That must be why the invading clockwork are so obsessed with fighting them. Alright, guys, we're going to stop here. Oh, look at this. We got a defense. It'll stay green till we trade it in. Or sell it, or whatever. Destroy it at level 42. Alright, so we're going to stop here. I'll be back with another episode as we continue this storyline. Until then, I am Scarperlock, and this is City of Heroes.